because you told me that your energy bills were a bit mad.
The headline figure increased by like 80% overnight.
The first problem we've got here, lack of available circuits.
Just looking at that lovely Pigeon up there.
They're earning from the system from day one with no money down. Is commercial solar a total waste of money? This old warehouse behind me is costing our customer thousands of pounds a month in energy bills. But would installing solar panels on the roof actually save them money? Or is it just a hyped up trend that businesses are buying into? Well, in today's video, we're going to design a system, crunch the numbers, and finally put the matter to bed once and for all. So make sure you watch to the end of the video where we see whether this system will pay for itself or not. Hit a like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So we're here at Essential Workwear. They've asked us to come and do a solar survey to see what we can do to help them to reduce their energy bills and improve their carbon footprint. They make all sorts of workwear stuff here. They've got a great setup going on. So let's meet Louis and see what he wants and how we can help. Okay, so this is Louis from Essential Workwear. Thanks for having us in.
No worries, good to have you.
You got us in for a reason, huh? Because you told me that your energy bills were a bit mad and you wanted to see if we could do something about it.
Before COVID, we were on a fixed contract for our electricity bills. Since COVID, when all the electricity bills increased and our contract ended, when coming to renew, the headline figure basically increased by like 80% overnight, and so yeah, it was quite a pill to swallow. Wow!
So suddenly, from one day to the next, you're pretty much paying 80% more on your energy bills. And I'm guessing for a building of this size, that's not an insignificant number?
Yeah, no, definitely not insignificant at all.
So we're not going to say exactly how much you're paying per month in energy, but you told me that it's in the multiple thousands of pounds.
Yes.
Shall we say?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is mad. So the question is, if we put solar on your roof, will it reduce your costs overall?
Yeah.
Or will the cost of solar outweigh the cost of your energy?
Yeah.
And that's what we're here to answer today. One interesting question I've got for you though is, what's your energy use like in terms of day versus night? Do you have much usage overnight, or is it mostly during the day?
No, so it's mostly during the day. I mean, very rarely, once a year, if we're extremely busy, we might have an evening shift, but that's extremely rare. Like 95% of the time, we're daytime only.
Yeah. Okay. And you've got EV chargers as well. I saw out the front, right?
Yes.
So how often do they get used?
Those are daily. So we've got a few company cars for like our external salespeople, and all those are either electric or hybrid. When people are at the office, they charge up with those.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
So I guess you'd like to have enough energy generated to be able to charge the cars up on pure solar as well.
Yes, yes.
And we'll need to look at some kind of integration with the solar system and the EV charger so that they can kind of talk to each other.
Yeah. Just within our market, we're trying to push sustainable fabrics, sustainable printing. So it's then also great for us to be able to say, if we could say to our clients as well that the factory runs on renewable energy, would just be like a cherry on top.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll see what we can do. We're going to have a walk round, look at everything, measure up and see how many solar panels we can fit on the roof, figure out roughly how much it costs, and see if we can figure out a way to get your monthly bill to be negative.
Yeah.
Basically. That'd be awesome. Do you want to show us around?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks. Okay, so we've got DB5. It all looks very nice and neatly cabled, which is good. Oh, you got surge protection and everything. That's fantastic.
So just mind the ink through here.
Wow, yeah.
We've got a board from here all across.
Okay, yeah. So this is your main incomer, where the main supply comes in from the street. Looks like you've got a 200 amp supply, 3-phase meter. And that all goes through to this main isolator switch. That's probably, yeah, going through to this board. So that one's pretty full, so there's not much chance of adding anything to that. Looks like a 400 amp main switch. This will probably have some MCCBs in, yeah. So these MCCBs feed different distribution boards, DB1, DB2, DB3, and then this is presumably DB3, yeah. There we go. Wow, this is full as well, actually. They're basically all full, unfortunately. So that's the only challenge, is getting an extra circuit in from somewhere. So we do a few safety checks as we go around. One of them is the bonding. So this is the water supply. We can see that it is bonded back to the main earthing terminal, which is important for safety. Even though it is a plastic incomer, there's copper pipes within the property which could become live under fault conditions inadvertently. So that's a good safety thing. So this is Tom, my assistant manager. He's here to help us with the survey because there's a lot of details to take in on these kind of surveys. And the idea is having two sets of eyes is good. Tom's got a lot of experience in renewables and stuff as well with commercial, so it's nice for him to give his input. And here we are at the main incomer, right? So the first problem we've got here is lack of available circuits. There are no spare ways, essentially. We've got 4 big distribution boards, this main incomer MCCB panel here, but they're all rammed. So we're trying to find a solution where we can add a new distribution board for renewables. We think we might have come up with an option here, which is that they've got the EV charger circuit here. If we remove that, we can rewire the EV charger into a new renewables distribution board that we can put over here. And then we can run a new feed circuit from this board to that board, 63 amp circuit or 80 amp circuit or something, that will hopefully be enough to do the EV charger and the solar inverter. But it depends on what size system we're designing, whether that inverter circuit needs to be more than 50 amps or less. Oh, by the way, the customer had these nice Artisan Hi-Vis printed for us when we got here, and we got a little sneak preview of how they're made. So is it heat transfer and then
heat and pressure.
Okay, nice. Wow, beautiful.
And this is done.
There we go, Artisan Hi-Vis printed and ready to go. So the great thing about industrial buildings like this is up above me we have a huge roof with loads of space to fit solar panels. Now there is one issue here. We've got these skylights and we can't fit panels over the skylights because they're quite fragile. So we're gonna have to do a design that misses the skylights and stuff, but I think still, with the room that we've got up there, it should be possible to fit a decent amount of solar panels. And it's a typical metal trapezoidal roof, which is quite easy to fix solar panels to. But there are a few interesting things that we need to consider in commercial that we don't need to consider in domestic solar installs. So we'll go through those now.
Bright, isn't it?
It's all bright. Right, so one thing that is different with commercial is scaffolding. You know, the safety side of things is actually a really big deal on commercial. Not that it's not a big deal on domestic, but there's just more potential risk. So, Tom, what do you reckon for scaffolding in here? What do we need to be thinking about?
We've got limited access down the side here. It's just an alleyway, and it's the same at the back of the property. We'd love to get scaffolding away from all these cars, but it's just not feasible.
Yeah.
So it's got to be somewhere along this front. You've got an entry point down there for the forklift, which they need constant access to. I think it's going to have to be over in this corner, with a nice tower, and then handrailing all the way around the edges, so it's safe to work up there.
Yeah, and it's high, right? So to get the panels up safely is something else that we need to be thinking about. What are the options there, would you say?
Electric winch is the safest and easiest option, and you need to make sure you've got enough bodies to do it, because you'll need 2 down here safely and 2 up there safely as well, at least. And I'm just looking at that lovely pigeon up there.
Yeah, so what does that remind us of?
Which would say pigeon protection, bird protection.
Yeah,
solar
those pigeons, they're just perched there waiting to jump under the solar panels as soon as we install them. We had that on another commercial install where literally the night after we'd done the install, the customer said, "We can hear pigeons hooing on top of the roof. We've never had that before." And they were up there just exploring, having a look around. The other thing I thought about, instead of a winch, we could do one of those ladder, like elevator things, you know, like roofers use to bring up pallets of roofing material.
Yeah.
I had a quote for one of those recently for a big house in London, and I think we could do the same here. Some people say that you should actually put rail around the skylights as well, just in case somebody treads on them, because then they could fall through.
So previously we've just taped them. we've taped them, and obviously everyone's well aware within the Rams that there are skylights up there.
What do you mean by tape? You just like put some tape around?
Tape the borders, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, tape the borders just to obviously make it clear and visible to everyone.
Yeah.
But until we get up there, we can't see how clear and visible they are.
Exactly, yeah. So Essential Workwear make really cool workwear, and we've been looking for a workwear company for a little while who can make our uniforms, print our stuff. We're working with them now to get all high quality bespoke uniform for our team. As you can see, we like to look smart. We use the Black Ladder stuff, which Essential Workwear work with Black Ladder. They can make it bespoke, put your logo on and all of that cool stuff. So if you'd like to get yourself some amazing quality workwear from Essential Workwear, there's a link below where you can find out more. So the distribution boards that we saw inside are actually on the other side of the wall here.
Yeah.
So what we're thinking of doing is running the DC cables from the inverter up on the outside of this wall, but the only thing is we're not sure whether we'd be able to get safe access to do cable tray up the wall here. Tom's on the other side of there looking to see if we could maybe get a ladder over this hedge or something. What do you reckon, Tom?
I mean, you could get it over this bit just for the tops. It's not going to be the best, but...
Yeah, or like a mini scaffold tower maybe here, but I don't know, with the height it's probably not safe to do that either. The other option would be to run tray along the wall low level here and then go up the front of the building maybe, and then you could do that with a scaffold tower at least.
Yeah,
Or
that makes sense.
Or a ladder. Or would you go up like that and over?
Oh, what, if you were coming at the front?
Yeah.
Oh, the front, I wouldn't front, I'd go side.
Oh, okay.
I'd go side. I mean, even if the scaffold's here, you can get round and work there, and even if you came up this corner,
okay.
and then just...
So the other thing to consider is the customer's got 2 EV chargers. Now this is a Zappi, I believe it's a 3-phase 22 kilowatt Zappi. It'd be lovely to integrate this into their ecosystem so that the Zappi can see how much solar is being generated and charge the cars off of excess solar. However, there's a slight problem because there's another charger here which is not a Zappi, so you might have to do a bit of tweaking there. So this one is a pod point. I believe it's single phase, not 3-phase. And as far as I'm aware, they don't have solar integration in these. So we might need to swap this for a single phase Zappi instead, then link them all together so that they all see the excess solar. I think that's probably going to be the best option. And as this looks like just a pretty standard EV tower, we should be able to swap the front plate on it and put a Zappi plate instead. And then that will just integrate as it should with the My Energy ecosystem. So with all of our site surveys, we do a full drone survey and we get high-res photos and videos of the roof. And that's really important because often there's unexpected things that you don't know about the roof. For example, small obstacles that you can't see on Google Earth, or maybe there's some damage to the roof that's existing, and because we've got before photos, we've got proof of that damage and we can bring it to the customer, help them to get it repaired before we do the work. So it just results in a much better job, and also it makes our design more accurate because we can now overlay this drone photo onto our design software and give a beautiful bespoke design. So we have got the drone up. Now this is your roof from Google, just Google Maps view. But what we're going to do now is we're going to overlay this with the footage that we've taken from the drone, and then that should give us a bit of a more high-res view. See that obviously you've got a few obstacles. There's a nice bit here that we could install panels. We're going to avoid the skylights because they're a bit fragile, so we don't want to put anything on top of those. So we've put in your consumption details here. 13 megawatt hours per month of energy. It's a lot. We just go as big as we can to start with, and then we can always scale it down a little bit if needed. As big as we can gives you it covers about 40% of your usage. That's with 215 panels on the roof. I mean, we might be able to squeeze a few more in. What we can do with that is we can look at how much would that cost, and then how much would that cost per month if you were to do like a lease type system, and would it actually reduce your energy bills so that they're less than what you would pay for the system, if that makes sense. Because then you're paying nothing up front, but you're reducing your bills by more than you're spending on the solar, so it's actually a net positive. Which is quite cool. So quite interesting to see what's possible with your roof.
Very interesting.
Nice big roof, space for plenty of solar panels. The question is, what are your needs really, and what will the system work for you in terms of your, what you're planning to do here. So that's up for you to decide, but we'll go away and fine tune this proposal now. At least you can see what the possibilities are, and then you can go away and decide whether it's something that you want to proceed with or not.
No, yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. So I've just finished completing the quotation and design. I've made this 3D render to show how the panels will look on the roof, to give the customer an idea of the aesthetics and layout of the system. And after crunching all the numbers and working out the sums, with a system of this size, with all of the scaffolding, the panels, the mounting equipment, the inverters, the cabling, and all of the electrical infrastructure behind the scenes, as well as the labor involved, it's coming out at a pretty reasonable 6-year payback period. And that's often the case with commercial solar because of the scale of these projects and the price per kilowatt hour that commercial businesses often pay for their energy. The return on investments can be a lot more attractive than residential systems. So stay tuned for when we get this install done for our customer. I'm sure we'll be sharing that with you on the channel too. So that was a really interesting experiment, because what we're trying to do here is get a system design that will cover as much energy usage as possible for the customer, so as high a self-consumption figure as possible. But we've got to also match that with their monthly energy costs to see if we can get the two things to align. And what I mean by that is that there are some payment options out there for big commercial projects like this, where the customer could potentially pay monthly for the system with zero upfront cost, zero deposit, a kind of like a lease agreement type thing. We've got a company that we work with who can offer those kind of finance deals. And the idea is, can you get the monthly cost of the lease for the solar to be less than the saving that they make from their energy bill? So say, for example, it costs them 1,500 quid a month for the solar lease, but they save £2,000 a month on their energy bill. They're actually a net gain of £500 a month, which means they're earning from the system from day one with no money down. Now that makes solar for commercial installations super interesting, but there's loads of different factors involved. How complicated is the install? How many panels can we fit? How much is the customer paying for their energy? And how long do they want to pay for the system for? So a lot of things that need to go into the mix, but I hope that this has opened your eyes a little bit to the potentials of solar. In commercial situations, it can be really attractive, and the payback periods can be a lot lower than on residential. So if you have a building like this where you'd love to look at getting solar, feel free to click the link in the description below and you can get a quote from us. But either way, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. And if you have, and you've not liked and subscribed yet, it really helps if you do that. And why not grab a cup of tea and settle in and watch one of these videos that YouTube thinks you will enjoy.